and the Force is with me. I'm one with the Force. The Force is with me. So be it, Jedi.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Geek News Now Cantina Happy Hour. I hope you enjoyed my new opening. I made it because those are, well, for one thing, there was a lot of Cantina in there, but then those are some of my favorite scenes from the movies. And if you don't like it, well, my show, I make the openings. If you have suggestions, I always like to listen. So, with me today, of course, is Debbie. Hey, Debbie, how's it going?
Pretty good. It's sleeting and icy here.
It's just cold here.
It's hot here.
Seriously.
Comparatively, I mean, it was like almost 70 degrees today.
Holy smokes.
In Maryland, which is weird. Yeah, it was like 65. Because we just had snow still on the ground yesterday. So it was a very sudden... I walked outside in my coat. I was like, what the hell is going on?
So, of course, below me is Chris. Chris and Debbie are both the host and the co-host of the MCU Mondays right here on Geek News Now. It's broadcast on YouTube and on the Facebook page, and I'm a frequent guest, and it's a lot of fun. We always have a blast. Also with us today is a very special guest. This is Matt. And
special, huh?
This is Debbie's progeny. So, hi, Matt. How's it going?
I don't think either one of us likes to admit that.
No.
I just don't like the term that you used, but...
Oh, I thought it was great.
Progeny.
What's wrong with the progeny?
I guess
Too many syllables. What do you... Come on. Dummy. and dummy.
Yes, definitely me. Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, everyone.
Okay, fine. It's Debbie's kid.
My eldest.
Now we get it. I'm a goat. Hey, I'm Matt, clearly. Lifelong Star Wars fan. I think I first saw Star Wars in theaters when Empire was re-released for special edition. And I don't remember much about it, but I recall the Snow Wampa making me pee a little. But obviously went on to play Shadows of the Empire. You know, Dash Rendar, one of my favorite characters. Shizor, nice. Awesome. And a Boba Fett who actually knew how to kick people's butts.
And not pamper them.
Yeah, and not get saved by a 90-pound girl who swoops in on a Vespa rent out from the Lollipop Guild. You know, it's there's just a few complaints I had on that. Jedi Knight Dark Forces 2, I played the crap out of that. Kyle Katarn, Jan Ors, like Orc, pick Jarek, the guy who played Jarek, so good. Pretty much sci-fi fan in general. If you put Star in front of something, Stargate. Obviously, I hate Star Trek. It's my wall of hate. It's how I center my dark side.
That's how we
you know, and that was the big screw up with Battlestar Galactica. It should have been Star Battle Galactica, and I would have watched it.
Star Battle Galactica.
What about The Last Starfighter?
It's not because the last is in front of it.
Star has to be first.
Okay.
It's a hard rule. It's an easy rule. I'm easy to please.
Yeah. All that being said, here we are, Geek News Now Cantina Happy Hour. Before we get started, go over to the Geek News Now Facebook page. We have got a huge giveaway going on right now. They're giving away a
Razor Crest.
It's a Razor Crest. It's a massive Lego. I don't have my set right here with me again today. I had it last week and I was flying it around, and it's just a big Lego set. It's the Razor Crest. It comes with Mando, and at the time he was the child. We didn't have a name for him yet. And 2 or 3 other characters. I can't remember right off the top of my head. But one of the cool things about this one, if I remember right, there is a special code in the back of the instruction booklet, and that code you enter into when you play Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga, which comes out in April. You can enter that code, and it will automatically give you a Razor Crest ship to use in the game. So, if anything, get it for that. But it's a free giveaway. Geek News Now. Go check it out on the Facebook page. That's where everything's happening. Okay, so tonight we're talking A New Hope. Before we get started, we had some interesting Star Wars news drop today. Variety is reporting now that the master himself, John Williams, will be back to score Kenobi. The Kenobi miniseries that we are getting on May 25th of this year. John friggin' Williams is coming back.
So you're guaranteed at least one aspect of the show to be good. Be up to
I think
expectations.
he's only doing the Kenobi or the main theme to the song.
It doesn't matter. One thing's good.
One very
One thing.
small, absolutely confirmed.
No, you know what though? We're getting Ewan McGregor too. So Ewan McGregor.
That's true.
And hopefully
And
it's the
John
yelly
Williams.
Ewan McGregor from when he was filming that movie in England. I don't know if you guys saw that viral video where he was just like screaming at people who were like slightly offset.
Oh
I
no,
missed that one.
But that's the Kenobi I want.
Scottish temper.
Yeah.
So anyway, amazing. It's on Variety.com. I'm sure Geek News Now will have an article about it up very soon. So go check it out. Go check it out. GeekNewsNow.net. John Williams coming back for Kenobi. Oh, we got Hayden Christensen in there too. I don't know if that's a plus.
I
or
count
minus
that
for
as a
you.
plus.
I
That's
count
a
it as a
plus.
plus. I'm
I think
glad
a lot
he's
of
back.
people now have different opinions. Also because when the prequels came out, I was like 10, so I was just sitting there like enjoying it like a kid. And now I just look back on it and I see like at some points an awkward performance, but it's like, hey, he was supposedly
He was an
monk
awkward teenager.
trying to hit on a queen senator hot chick, and he doesn't, to our knowledge at least, he hadn't had a lot of practice hitting on chicks, so that was kind of perfect. And then Revenge of the Sith was great. So
Of course. Okay, so New Hope. Let's get started on A New Hope. And I'm gonna pose a question to all of you before we get into the meat of the movie here. But I want to hear the very first time that you saw A New Hope. Just real quick thoughts and impressions. When was it? Where was it? And thoughts and impressions. So, Debbie, what you got?
Summer 1977. We were, I believe, in South Carolina. My brother was in the Navy, and wherever my brother was stationed, that's where we went on vacation. And we stood in line for 2 hours waiting to get into to see this movie. I had never heard of it. My mom had passed away in May or in June, so we were up in the hospital a lot, so I didn't know what this Star Wars thing was. And as soon as that music and the scroll came on, I was and then the Star Destroyer.
And the Star Destroyer. That's
I was
like the
hooked
catch-all.
from that moment on.
Matt, what about you? When did you see Star Wars the first time?
Still trying to remember. I don't know if I know when.
that's
Just
kind of the answer that I have.
We watched the movies at home a lot, so
Yeah.
So like you grow up on it. That's what I was gonna say. It's just like I couldn't tell you the first time I consciously, because it was just it was part of something like that was a movie that I had seen a bunch already. So it wasn't like I don't remember the first time I saw. The closest I could come would be talk about Phantom Menace, because the first time I saw that was in theaters as a kid. But the reason I was for sure going to see that was because I watched the originals on video over and over already by that point.
And the way you mentioned that, I think my son Luke, he's 13 now, but when he was growing up, I mean, he was 2 years old, 2 and 3 years old, and he could name all the characters. You pick up a toy and that's, that's a battle droid. Oh, that's Obi-Wan Kenobi. Oh, that's Luke Skywalker. So he could name all the characters. And he knew the movies. He knew what was going on in the movies. And he knew that Daddy built Legos based on these movies. So I see all of these people that are like, I see it on YouTube all the time, and it's like, here's a reaction video to seeing Star Wars for the first time, or here's a reaction video to seeing Empire Strikes Back, or the big reveal in Empire. And I feel so bad because Luke never had that. He grew up with Star Wars. I will never be able to do anything like that with him and say, hey, look, and then, oh my gosh, Darth, no, he's lying. He can't be.
Well, was there ever like the first time you showed him the movies? Like...
No, I mean, he grew up. I've got videos of him when he's 3 years old with a mask on, a Darth Vader mask, a blanket wrapped around his neck, and he's walking around saying, Daddy, I am your father.
There you go.
It's close. It's close.
That
there's a relationship there.
I raised that child right.
It's really
disturbing.
Daddy, I am your father. That's just like...
I think what I remember most is just like the detail of the models that always stuck out to me. Even before the special editions, which then it was CGI, but
right.
That always really impressed me, and like the sense of scale that you got. I'm thinking like the Falcon being tractored into the Death Star. There's that shot with like the two dudes standing out front. It's like, oh, whoa.
I think that was, and I seem to remember seeing an interview with, I think it was probably George Lucas about this, was you didn't see a whole lot of, the Star Destroyers. You didn't see fleets of Star Destroyers. You saw a Star Destroyer. You didn't see tons and tons and tons of TIE fighters. You saw a few when they were attacking the Death Star, and then of course the 4th Century ships when they were leaving the Death Star. So, but because it's the Empire and it's the bad guys, you just kind of knew that they were big and they were massive, and there was a lot of them everywhere. There was a lot of Imperials everywhere. And the way that that's portrayed in the film, I mean, like I said, there's not a whole lot in the film to where you can say, oh my gosh, there's, fleets of these things. Now, as the movies progressed, Empire, Jedi and whatnot, you started to see that a whole lot more. But I think you're right. The size of things really helped.
Also, Debbie, when you were mentioning, like, from the minute the crawl came up, at that time, I mean, that alone set it apart from any other movie you were going to see, and still most movies, because you had to have the opening credits. Like, movies have to have. That's why George Lucas was kicked out of the Directors Guild.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why Steven Spielberg couldn't like direct one of the Star Wars movie, the prequels. I think they wanted him to direct.
He wanted him to direct Jedi.
And that. So, but they wouldn't let him do that because George Lucas broke the rules by saying, "I'm not doing opening credits. We're starting it like this." And so, just by doing that, and it was a great decision and the right call, but but even if it did get him kicked out, that sets it apart from any other movie. You're gonna just by itself that forever sets Star Wars apart,
because you don't see credits until the end.
Yeah,
and
it starts out, well, first of course, a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, drawn in, boom, hits you with it. Now you're in the story. Developed by this person, blah blah blah. Who cares?
Written by.
You're in the universe. Yeah,
casting by.
Save that stuff so we can walk out.
And know when to leave.
And look, Marvel found a way around that by putting stuff after the credits. So
now they make you watch everything.
The credits, frankly, are really just for the people that worked on the movie, so that they can prove that they worked on the movie. It's not really for the audience.
I personally am enthralled by every credits roll.
I like to play games sometimes if I'm sitting through it, like just find funny stuff. But
if there's good music behind the credits, like if there's a decent song playing, or I mean, even in the case of Star Wars, a decent score playing, then I'll sit, if anything, just to listen to the music.
Here come the men in black. Whoa, sit back
Whoa,
down.
whoa!
I think Will Smith is about
Will
to rap.
I'm gonna go see Wild Wild West too, just because I know
Oh man,
if it's got Will Smith in it, he's gonna rap at the end.
that's on Netflix now.
I seen that.
I almost watched it. I was like, I want to see if I remember this correctly. I haven't done it yet.
Okay, so I'm going to step back because I didn't get to do my first time. My first time that I saw, in fact, and this is an interesting bit of trivia because you've got A New Hope and you've got the theatrical release that everybody knows and that us older people know and love. Then you have the special editions, which the younger crowd, I mean, that's what they had. That's all they had. Once the special editions came out in '97, that was it. You know, you could, unless you bought the VHS tapes, you didn't have it. But it wasn't the first time that there was a special edition, because in 1979, which is when I went to go see it, they re-released A New Hope before Empire Strikes Back came out. So when they re-released A New Hope, they changed the title crawl. Because initially it just said Episode 4, and then it went right into it is a period of civil war, rebels striking from. There was no title. It was not called A New Hope. It was just the Star Wars. It was just Star Wars. In 1979, when they knew they were going to be making sequels at this point, they said, okay, now we need to title this one. So in 1979, the title crawl, A New Hope, Episode 4, A New Hope. So I got to see the first special edition in theaters.
Did they? This is just something I don't remember off the top of my head. But what when they changed it to A New Hope, wasn't it? Did they call it Episode 4 yet, or did they change?
Oh yeah,
It was still episode.
Even
it was
back
still
then?
Episode 4. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
So I think even starting in 1977, I think it was Episode 4. It just said Episode 4, and then.
Right, they didn't add A New Hope until 97, right?
79, yeah, 1979.
That got A New Hope and Episode 4.
No, just A New Hope.
Okay.
Episode 4 has always been.
That's what my confused look was. I was like, I don't think they did Episode 4 until much later. But
no,
far be it from me to question.
It's there, and
in 1981 it received the Episode 4 marking. That's what this says. But yeah, so originally it was just Star Wars, and that's why the first or A New Hope is so self-contained. Like,
the only thing you have is Darth Vader got away at the end. You know, he was spinning out in his TIE fighter. Oh, spoilers!
Like, never see
spoilers.
that Emperor.
If you haven't seen Star Wars, we're talking spoilers here. And if you haven't seen Star Wars, what's wrong with you?
So what
Where the hell you been
here? I'm just going to listen to these people talk about something I have no context for. Sweet.
I never saw the original trilogy. I only like the prequel trilogy.
Prequel purist.
What part of World War II did this war occur in?
So, yes, absolutely right. You're right, Chris. We never saw the Emperor. He was mentioned only. You never really. I mean, really, your bad guy in this one. It wasn't even really Darth Vader. Darth Vader was kind of
Tarkin.
It was Tarkin. Tarkin. If you watch those movies, Tarkin is really the evil person, and Darth Vader's kind of his lackey.
Yeah, he tells Vader what to do. Like Vader's choking that guy, which is that's a very villainous thing to do, by the way, is choking somebody to death. And Tarkin's like, "Quit it, Vader!
Stop it!
Calm down."
Tarkin was the only person that Vader basically respected. I mean,
the only other person that Vader doesn't talk down to would be obviously the Emperor, and maybe like Boba Fett.
No, yeah, because
he talks down, but he doesn't like, or he does. You know, there's a level of respect to Boba Fett where, at least when Boba Fett talks to him, he says he uses an attitude that's very much more aggressive than any of the other Imperial officers who are usually just like, Please don't kill me.
Apology accepted.
I'll go tell Lord Vader myself. Okay, so that guy's dead.
Looks like I'm in charge now. He hadn't left yet. It doesn't matter.
That's one of my favorite Robot Chicken Star Wars jokes is when the one guy is like, welcome to the jolly old Death Star. Now you're going to be working with Darth Vader, who thinks he can choke people with his mind, which is, of course, ridiculous. So whenever he tries to do that, you just grab your throat, gasp for breath, and then fall to the floor to be picked up by some deckhands. Then we'll just give you a false mustache and a new uniform, and you're ready to go back to work. Private Jenkins here has been strangled 6 times. Oh, it's so good.
Lovely. It's beautiful. Okay, so that brings up an interesting question then. Favorite scene in A New Hope? What really just sticks out to you? If you were watching this movie, you had it on in the background, you're doing your dishes or whatever else, but there's one scene in the whole movie where you just put everything down and you're focused right on that scene because that's like the best scene ever. Go.
One that leaps out to me is when they're all escaping the Death Star and Obi-Wan's facing down Vader, and when he dies, and Luke, and that scene, I'm just like, just watching Luke's reaction, watching Leia and Han getting on the ship, and of course Obi-Wan and Vader like kicking the robes.
He's like, "Oh, what happened here?
What is this?
This will make an excellent.
What was that? I was trying to cut this dude in half, but he just disappeared. Am I stronger than I thought, or did something else happen? I just, and the whole thing is they're still escaping. It's not over, but this character who was his teacher is now just dead, and he's kind of, and then it's funny because right afterwards, it's not fun. Well, it's funny to me that he's like all upset about Obi-Wan, and Leia comforts him, and she just had to go through losing Alderaan. It's like,
I know where you're coming from.
Yeah, she should just kind of like kick him in the shin and be like, "Get over it, all right? We got."
Oh, really? You lost your friend who you just met? I just lost my planet.
And everyone there, like,
and everyone on it.
I'm assuming most of the people I know. So,
Debbie,
yeah.
Oh boy. Probably I have 2.
Okay.
The first one happens very early on, and that's when Luke walks out to look at the twin suns, and then that John Williams music, that gives me chills every single time. And then
John Williams and the London Symphony Orchestra, everybody.
No, I didn't leave the People's Court on there. I'm sorry.
And then the second one, I mean, there's a lot of good scenes, but the second one would probably be the throne room.
Oh.
Once again,
the music. I've got a story about that, but I'll hold off on that. Matt, what you got?
You're asking me to pick my favorite chocolate here.
I know, right?
Yeah. I was gonna say like the whole movie, but I guess I could talk about a random scene.
I don't know why. I guess just because the introduction of the Falcon, who has to be almost everyone's favorite ship. So when they first enter Docking Bay 94, that's my number 2. But my number 1 is as soon as Han Solo and Carrie Fisher, Leia are in the same area, then everything from there on out until they get on the Falcon is just
sparks start flying.
Amazing. Just
somebody
the
get
smart
this
ass
big walking carpet out of my way.
I'm sorry, Your Worship. You guys came here in that? You're braver than I thought.
Nice.
I just rewatched this movie yesterday and finished it up tonight before the show. And I mean, I've seen this movie bajillion times, but I don't know why I just noticed it. But Harrison has all the good lines.
This is
All
something,
the jokes, all the good one-liners. I mean,
and this is what's so good about Star Wars is I've seen the movie a gajillion times myself. You know, I wore out our VHS tapes watching the original 3 movies over and over and over and over and over again. But every time I watched it, I always noticed something new. There was always something new. I mean, if it's Harrison having the best lines, or I mean, just something where somebody put something on a table and it's like, oh, I know what that is in real life. And I know where the prop department got that kind of thing. So, I mean, there's always something new and exciting to see.
And if you take time to actually look away from what they're intending you to look at, like, because if you're watching a movie, there's a thing called, like, you know, the gravity of a scene your eyes are drawn towards, and they can use different colors to make you focus on things. The Matrix did a very excellent example of that when they had the woman in red walking through the crowd of everyone else in black and white. Well, filmmakers literally use that technique to make you look at a certain place on the screen where they want to. So if you actually take the time to look away from where they're trying to make you look and just look, that's something about these movies is they're so well, the set designs and the items, they're just lying around. Like the other day when I was rewatching it, it got to the part where they're on Han Solo's ship and Luke's training for the first time. And I'm just looking at the stuff around the ship instead of looking at the characters. I'm like, look at all this stuff. Like the kind of the rest area where Han Solo sits down. I'm just like, wait, is that like an ashtray? What's going on over here? Is Chewie a smoker?
I think I noticed that last night.
Yeah, sorry, I had something in my throat.
Han had a cigar addiction. He was 2 cigars a day. So from the planet Cuba.
To the planet.
Matt,
there's an embargo. I ran past the blockade.
Oh yeah, you did your fit. Okay, so I'm gonna go with mine, and this scene is probably my favorite in like all of Star Wars. Like any movie, this is the one scene that's like my favorite, and it always sticks out, and I don't know why. I really have no clue. There's nothing special about this scene, but it's the scene when they're all in the big meeting, and he walks in and he says, the Imperial Senate will no longer be of any threat to us or concern to us. The Emperor has dissolved the council permanently. That whole scene from start to finish, the rebellion is too well equipped, dangerous to your Starfleet commander, not to this battle station. The rebellions will continue to gain. And I can sit there and quote that stupid scene, and I love it. I don't know if it's the words that are used. I really I don't know what appeals to me so much about that scene, but it's my favorite scene in all the movies.
Now, did it appeal to you originally, or was it with the context of the prequels that you're like, oh, I know what he's talking about?
No, it's always been. I mean, even when those were the only 3 movies, it's always been my favorite, and I don't know why.
Something wrong with you, Dave.
I know. I know. Geek and I podcast. Millennium Falcon was the first model I ruined as a kid trying to put lights in it.
This thing isn't cool enough. I need more cool in here. And it's broken.
Yep. Let's see. Oh, we've got somebody. Let's see. Grant Dawson says he saw it in July of 77 in Glasgow. I don't know. I'm not even going to try and say that. He saw it in Scotland. There you go. I was 5 years old in my family outing. My dad wanted to go. We walked in and we were all handed a May the Force Be With You large pin badge and a selection of postcards. Handouts. That was one of the big things because they didn't have toys. They didn't know the movie was going to be
Merch.
So they didn't have merch. That's right.
Here's some swag.
Well, they had merch. They were just late on it, right? That's why it was like, here's your
Yeah.
saber.
You got a
They
cardboard
had
card or something like that.
it was
Once it was a hit, they were like, we can sell things to people who, I mean, clearly, like they still do. This is a shower curtain. They were like, we can make money off this, and Lucas was like, I have the merchandising rights, so he was like, I can make money off this.
well, and I mean, up until so it was released in May of '77. We didn't have toys until '78. It was after Christmas of 1978 because they didn't know it was going to be such a big deal.
Yeah.
And if you really want the whole lowdown, check out the Netflix show, The Toys That Made Us, and go watch the thing on the Star Wars toys. Because and in my case, I watched the Legos. But go watch the Star Wars toys one, and they'll give you the whole story about how we didn't make it and early bird certificates, and you basically mailed something in December, and then in February of the next year when they had the toys made, that's when you got your toys. You got what, 4 figures in the mail, I think it was Leia and Chewie and R2 and maybe Luke.
You would think, Luke. You would hope.
I got the.
Do we include the main character? No. Get the Gonk droid in there. I think
Put the Gonk in there.
For Christmas of '77, I got the vinyl soundtrack, which I still have.
Very nice.
The vinyl soundtrack. It's funny you should mention that because we grew up listening to that, and I remember the one track we always went to was the Cantina band, which was we played it the first.
This is
But-
a ruthless hive of scum and villainy. And this is
cue
the music
clown
they
music.
like.
But
You're not tough until you listen to this.
but all that being said, I mean, we were young kids, and I can remember dancing around the living room because that was the fun piece of music. That was the thing.
Well, I drove my parents nuts, or I drove my dad nuts because I would constantly play it on my little. I don't know. It was some kind of a plastic record player.
The Fisher Price one.
Probably, I don't know. It was real tiny, but I could play my record
first
on it.
record player.
And I would pretend I was John Williams orchestrating. And I'd just do that in my bedroom constantly. Or I'd have it playing because I went to the library, rented the book, which I still have. And
so not so much rent as took. Yeah. I went to the library where I took this book.
Well, because I kept going back and taking it out to read, and it just stayed one day.
My dad actually had a copy, a paperback copy of it was The Adventures of Luke Starkiller, I believe is what the thing was. And I just remember it was like, there was always at the beginning there was a saying in it, and it said from the Journal of the Wills. And I was like, oh, what is that? What is, and nobody really knew. I mean, even as Star Wars fandom progressed on, it was like, well, what is the Wills? And then it's mentioned again in Rogue One when Chirrut and Baze, hey, they're the guardians of the Wills. And it's like, oh, there's that word again. What is it? I must know.
Well, they did a bunch of stuff with that in the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
Near the end, I think mostly, but yeah, like Yoda goes and meets them, so it's pretty crazy. You can check that out. I think a lot of that is actually on YouTube as well. If you just type in Star Wars Wills, you can find a lot of stuff all about that topic.
Well,
that was the original.
Pretty interesting that it goes back, so far to the.
I actually have since lost that copy of that book. I'm sure it was destroyed by age,
It's
but
worth $1 million.
I actually no the one I actually went out and found a first edition hardcover of the original. The book came out before the movie did, kind of thing, and so really enjoyed it. Grant Dawson, as soon as the Tantive flew over laser blasts, then what the heck, Star Destroyer? I've been hooked since. Lucas and Williams. Best scene got to be Chewie refusing to go down the garbage chute.
I don't care what you smell. And then, of course, as soon as Han gets down there, and what a wonderful new smell we've discovered. Oh, yeah. He and Leia just fighting each other so hard. That was something else that was great about this movie that I don't think you had seen as much. Now it's kind of like a staple. But the hero and the princess that he's saving just going at it and fighting.
Yeah.
Like, what? Is there, this rescue is not exactly going as rescues typically go. And so just the combination of their lack of a plan and flailing around, and also the way that she's just like up in their face and then takes charge, gets him down a trash chute. At least it's something.
She is not the damsel in distress by any means. No. And
I'm a damsel, I'm in distress, but I can take care of this.
The whole thing about, and I think we've mentioned this before about, Star Wars now is just trying to show women in power. I'm like,
it's always
Star Wars in 1977 was showing women in power. It's always been like that.
And then in the next, and it wasn't just Leia, because you also had the leader of the rebellion is Mon Mothma. So it's
Padme was.
Yeah, when you get to the prequels, you had
she was in the arena fight. Oh, I call this.
I'm sorry.
You call this a diplomatic? No, I call it aggressive negotiations.
And she was shooting.
Yeah.
She's better than every stormtrooper ever. And she's not just like, boop, 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 boop. She's riding on the back of a thing and just going, bam, bam, bam.
Okay. I am so glad that you brought this up with the stormtroopers, because in A New Hope is where this all starts with the stormtroopers being the bad shots.
But at the beginning,
I do not buy into
at the beginning of the movie, they're pretty good shots.
At the beginning of the movie, they
Tantive 4 assault, people dying left and right.
Yep.
Rebel scum.
And they even when Princess Leia was running away, set for stun, they shot her in the back.
We have a stun function, and we weren't using it. We're murdering. We're just like die.
We're just straight up murdering people.
Yeah.
And then even he says these blast points are too accurate for sand people. Only stormtroopers are so precise, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you're looking at it going, so why are these guys missing? Well, let's look at the context. And I know there's a big theory out there, and I buy into this theory, is that on the Death Star, they wanted them to get away. Yeah. Vader told his troops, they were like, you gotta let them go.
And they get herded back to the ship. They all end up in the same place.
Yep.
To escape.
What took you? Oh, we ran into some old friends.
Meanwhile, Vader's like, I'm gonna go find Kenobi. All right, you guys herd them to the ship. Then we'll find the location of the secret rebel base. Because, like I said all along, Leia's not just gonna tell us. So, boom. I was smart.
So there's a reason
I'll kill Kenobi.
There's a reason for the stormtroopers missing. Now, they got a bad rap for that, because that's a lot of the movie is them escaping the Death Star and the stormtroopers not being able to hit the broadside of a barn. So, and of course,
but people also say stormtroopers never hurt anything. I'm just like, well, they literally shoot Leia in Return of the Jedi. So it's like, when people are making the joke, like the first stormtrooper hit anything, I was just like, you don't care that that stormtrooper shot her in the arm. And didn't you not see the dead Ewok?
and I mean, it even goes so far as like on Hoth. They decimated the Hoth base. They went in and took over. They were precision strikes. They were hitting things. Imperial troops have entered the base. Imperial troops have entered. It's like they're killing people. They are good shots. But again, you get to Cloud City, and it's like they can't hit anything.
And it's
again, we're hurting Luke to where Vader is. We're trying to push Luke to where Vader is.
Yeah.
And Vader doesn't want him dead, so we're not going to kill him.
Yeah.
So the whole thing's about stormtroopers not being able to shoot. I think that's a lie, and I think it was.
Well, now it's in canon because the Mandalorian.
Yeah.
He goes, I wasn't a stormtrooper. Calm down, Bill Burr. But he was just like, because the thing is that it's notorious that stormtroopers can't aim. And then they even had the thing with the bike troopers not being able to hit. Okay, which I made fun of, because I was just like, okay, I know that there was the end of an episode in between then and now, but in universe time, minutes have passed since they gunned down the Ugnaught character. He's dead now from laser blasts that they shot him with. Next scene, we can't hit anything. Lol. It's like,
I have my own theory. Do you guys play D&D or know roughly about it? I think they just use their nat 20s up all in one scene.
Oh,
Or at the beginning of the movie, and then for the rest of the movie, they can't hit shit.
There you go.
rolling 2s and 3s.
Oh, do you? I've seen it happen.
Oh man.
very good, very good, very good. Okay.
The escape from the Death Star is great, but then the return to blow it up is yes.
Well,
Spaceships, lasers.
I want to talk about the escape too, because
Okay.
again, this kind of adds to the whole stormtrooper escape thing. He says, "We're coming up on their sentry ships. I'm going to go fire up the main guns." 4
Oh yeah.
friggin' TIE fighters. They got a Death Star behind them that's filled with God only knows how many TIE fighters, and they
Yeah.
sent 4. How
Well,
easy? You call that easy?
Leia-
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
4 ships. Whoop-de crap. The space station's behind you.
It's the only explanation for the ease of our escape. They're
Mhm.
tracking us.
Easy. You call that easy? Yeah, I do. Yes, I do.
Yeah. And the Empire's like, all right, make it look like we're chasing them. Send 4 pilots to die. Pilots we don't like. They're TIE
Yeah.
fighter pilots. Okay, so anyone.
Send the red shirt Star Trek crew over there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Send
We're the Empire. That's one of our hallmarks, is just throwing bodies at things.
we're gonna send
Manpower.
we're gonna
body
send
power.
Vader, and we're gonna send Tarkin, and we're gonna send Stormtrooper Smith. Oh crap. I'm screwed.
What? One of the life pods. Oh, don't fire on that one. There are no life forms aboard. What are we charging by the laser now? Oh, that was so funny. That's such a big plot point, because if they had just blown that up, like
It would have been over.
it's
That's it.
over right
It's
there.
done.
But because those guys didn't fire on that, because they were like, hold on, hold your fire. Like, as if the Empire, seriously, like, why not? We were ordered to blow up. Wait, I scanned it. No life forms.
There's no life forms.
Shucks.
Darn.
C-3PO also has some funny lines. Someone mentioned that Han Solo had all the best lines, and he gets a lot of them, but that's also because that's part of like what his character is meant to be. He's supposed to be the cynical, literally pointing out flaws and poking fun at what he thinks is stupid, like hokey religions, no substitute for a good blaster at your side. And that's part of his personality. And Luke's personality is young, earnest, and so he's just exuberant to like try and be a hero, but he's like actually taking things in a way like more seriously than Han, because Han's actually been around and he's grown cynical from that. So it gives, and then the other characters, so as far as who fits the bill to be there, that's why he gets some of the best lines, because like that's his character, as opposed to like Empire Strikes Back or any of the other movies. It's like Han Solo still has a lot of the best lines because he has that dry kind of wry humor. Like, I was born here, you're gonna die.
You're gonna die here.
Convenient. Jedi Knight. I'm out of it for a little while, and everyone starts getting delusions of grandeur.
Oh, no. I've been looking forward to this for a long time. Yes, I'll bet you have. And dadgummit, Han shot first. I don't care what they do with those special editions.
Yeah.
Han always shot first.
McClunky.
And honestly, I'm glad that they,
McClunky.
if you looked at it, they touched on that in the Solo movie. When you had what's his name and had him at the end, and he goes, "I got one more lesson to teach," and he starts monologuing, and Han just goes, he's like, "Oh, I would have done the same thing," and it's like, yeah, except
But,
you didn't.
The crazy thing is, then, like, Disney is the one in charge, even of the most recent remake of that scene where Han doesn't shoot first, and they're the ones who made the movie Solo. So
Where Han shoots first.
Yeah, so if you're putting forth that thing, why did you remake the original again to yet again not show him shooting first?
Now
Han
wait a
shot
minute.
first.
George changed it first
Yeah, he
changed
did.
it initially.
But I'm saying Disney changed it again.
to make it where they
McClunky.
both shot at the same time.
Yeah, have you heard that? But you've heard like now, because he didn't used to yell anything either.
No, it was yes, I'll bet you have. And then it was like they both took a shot.
And now
He says something.
McClunky.
Yeah.
And it's like, why did you make that change?
The changes are so weird. So that he changes it so that Greedo shoots first. Then they change it so that it's slightly closer, but Greedo still shoots first. Then they change it so that it's almost the same time, but like it's a 10 frame difference, and Greedo still shoots first, and then it's McClunky and at the same time. That's
and
why?
All that being said, if we're gonna make fun of the way people shoot, Greedo wins. Greedo had him point blank, and for some reason, when he shoots, it goes up over his shoulder.
Yeah,
Greedo's
long
a bad
fingers.
shot.
he wasn't used to this thing. Yeah, I was gonna say, have you seen his hands? It's like you need a special gun, or you probably need special everything.
Yeah,
And I don't even think I've
C-3PO.
seen other Rhodians quite with hands like his either. Like his
Yeah,
are
it always seemed
crazy.
longer.
Yeah, I'd have to go and check the Mandalorian to see, because there was a Rhodian in that, or sorry, Book of Boba Fett in like the first episode. Just look at his hands. What
Go
kind of
check
hands you got, man.
Even in Phantom Menace, there was Rhodians in the Phantom Menace. So I mean, even in the prequels,
They're in the background of a lot of stuff. I just don't necessarily get a chance to see their hands in that. With heads on the table, you're just like, whoa, and they're weird too, because the ends of his fingers, they're like, what
They're
are
like
you? Whoa,
suckers.
Don't match
this
up.
alien looks like an alien. Well done. Not like Twi'leks. Whatever.
or not the Twi'leks.
Twi'leks.
What was it? It's the Wolf
Zabrak.
Man and the Wolf Man and the Devil guy in the
But
canteen.
the surplus costume. They're like, we ran out of alien costumes. All right, well, we got a werewolf and a devil. They can be aliens. That guy's a Devaranian and Wolfman. Whatever. Who cares?
Who cares?
That's a
We're
giant
gonna-
ant.
we're
There's a
gonna
giant
change-
ant over there. It's just a smorgasbord.
We're gonna change him in the special editions anyway, so it doesn't matter.
And jumping back to C-3PO real quick, there's something funny that I think I'd always noticed that, he's really uptight, right, and posh almost, but it always made me chuckle that he's that way, and then as Luke is coming back from seeing his aunt and uncle dead, C-3PO is dropping a dead Jawa body on a fire. And I'm like, oh, he's like really uptight, but he's not that uptight. Like he can throw these things on. That's a little weird. And then one of the last few times I was watching, as they're pulling into Mos Eisley, he comments on the Jawas. He's like, disgusting creatures. I was like, okay, they made it match up. He's in character.
He was burning him. Yeah, okay.
He's posh until it's.
He was probably all kinds of excited. Ooh, disgusting creatures! Ha ha! Let's burn them.
Yeah, like Obi-Wan didn't even have to tell him to do that. It was just
Yeah, he's actually pissed that he had to burn the bodies because he had to touch them. Now I know that they're disgusting creatures because I had to go close up to pick them up. And now, of course, you got Book of Boba Fett, Pelimato talking about, I used to date a Jawa. Now I'm just sitting there going, they're a rat-like rodent alien.
Well, and it was
What?
it was really bad in the last episode too, because she started going after the mayor's
Oh, yeah, as soon as she saw
the
him, she was
head
like,
tail guy, and I'm like,
sexy head tails. Get it? She's into banging
we're-
aliens.
we're gonna yeah, exactly. She wants
get
to be
it?
on Space Tender. We
You
get
get
it.
it?
All right.
She's
She gets around.
Captain Kirk of Star Wars.
you get the idea that she's kind of the dregs of Mos Espa.
Yeah.
There's
She's
a reason she
constantly,
went
like,
with Jawas.
BSing. Yeah. And like when also I think it was hilarious when Luke's ship lands at her place and she's like, oh, I just applied for the whatever a couple minutes ago, officer, blah blah blah. But also what is even funnier than that is that Luke didn't go back. He's like, there's this kid to drop off. In the words of Rune Hako, send a droid. I'm not going back to Tatooine no matter what. I am done with that place.
I don't
Toddler
like,
to deliver. R2 can take care of it.
I don't like sand. It's coarse. It's
Like
rough. It
father,
gets
like
everywhere.
son.
That's right. I'm never going back to that.
But
But
did
well,
Luke
no, he even said it in this movie. That's okay. I'm never coming back to this planet again.
Yep.
Did Luke even know that chick though? Like, it could have just landed anywhere, and somebody came in and just grabbed him. Like, did R2 know who that?
No, and that's what's so weird about the whole
Mando's
thing.
not
He knew
here.
exactly where to go.
Oh well, I guess I'll just leave him with you. I'm out.
Yeah.
R2D2 out. I got him to Tatooine. All
He's
right.
that mad at Grogu.
All he
He's
said,
like,
all I had to do was get him here.
Peace. R2D2's done. I'm gonna go joyride this ship around before I go back to Luke. I got an X-wing, blowing stuff up.
So, anyway, A New Hope. So, as I've said before, the music is very important to me, and the music to A New Hope is no exception. And Debbie, you had mentioned the throne room being one of your favorite scenes, and mainly because the music was just so
Grand.
it was this march, and it was vibrant and okay. When I got married, I told my wife, I said, you can do anything you want to in this wedding. I don't care. I want no input. The only thing I want is when we leave, I want to leave to the throne room. And she listened to it and she was like, that actually sounds really good.
That's dope.
That's really cool. She said, okay, we're going to do that. Well, we had just enough, and this is beautiful, and I love telling this story. We had just enough bridesmaids and groomsmen to where we started to leave, dun 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 dun. By the time we got out, and by the time our parents got out, and the pastor was still up on the stage, and he says, Mr. and Mrs. Furr would like for you to come join them in blah 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 reception, yada yada yada. And as soon as he got done saying that, it rolled into the end credits. Dun, 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 dun. I was like, I couldn't have timed that better if I wanted to. Oh, it was beautiful. So everybody else leaves with the credits rolling. Dun, 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 dun. And of course, I had family there that was, you can't play Star Wars music in a church. You watch me.
Oh my god. Right.
You watch me.
I have family like that.
I just did.
It's disrespectful. It's like,
yeah.
It's like John Williams. People are going to think that some church person wrote this.
my best man, the pastor, and I all walked out to the Imperial March. I mean, we.
I did that at my friend's wedding. Yeah, it's best man.
So good, so good. Imperial March.
Well, Matt and I had a discussion this past weekend, which is interesting because I listen to Star Wars music at home, at work, in the car, anywhere. It's always playing. And it's to the point where I listen to a particular piece and you can just visualize what the scene is, or you can associate it with something.
I was going to say, I get to the point where if there's a dialogue going on while that music's playing, I can sit there and quote the dialogue based on where the beats of the music are, where the music hits real good. Yeah, I'm the same way.
They also for the game Star Wars Galaxies, when that was out, MMORPG, they had a lot of the music in that, in the waiting streams, because back then load screens were like serious. Like, you had a while. It was like, all right, I'm gonna go make some food while this load screen is doing its thing. But they would play Star Wars music during that too. Yeah, well, now so I'll hear that and I'll think of like, oh, Star Wars Galaxies.
Yeah.
Also A New Hope, but
certain scenes, like when it's raining, they play a certain piece of music and it's real sad and whatnot. And then when you're being chased by whatever,
sure,
there's that. I don't know if it's the trench run or which piece of music it is, but every time I hear those, I associate.
Bump, 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 bump.
Yeah, I associate those to Star Wars Galaxies.
Yeah, mom. Yeah, we won the space battle. No, I'm calling you like I said. No, I gotta go. We got more important space stuff to do. All right, bye.
What do you mean they blew it up? What in the hell's an aluminum falcon? What do you mean just build another one?
Got
You
an
got an
ATM on
ATM
that.
in that light bright chest of yours? And get your 6'2" asthmatic ass back here before I tell everyone what a bitch you were about Patamame or Panda Bear, whatever the hell her name was. Oh, he's crying.
Oh God, he's crying.
I love you too.
Anyway, all right.
Where have you been this whole time? You're spinning around in space out in that ship? Oh, you must
smell
stink.
like feet wrapped in burnt leathery bacon.
That is so funny because like the Death Star got destroyed. There were no other ships around. So what did Darth Vader do? It's like I've just been spinning around in space out here.
I got a question.
Sure.
Before the prequels started or came out,
Mhm.
what did you think Obi-Wan was referencing when he mentioned the Clone Wars?
Okay.
Because
I am so glad you brought that up. Okay, so back in the dark times, we had the
Before
three
the
movies.
sun.
We had the three movies. We had the 2 Ewok movies. We had the Ewok show, the Droid show, which ran for like a season each, and we had the holiday special, and that was it. As far as books go, we had the 3 movies, and we had 3 Han Solos, 3 Landos, and Splinter of the Mind's Eye, and that was it. There was nothing. There was no reading. I mean, unless you played the role-playing game. Well, in the novelization of Return of the Jedi, when Luke and Ben are sitting in Dagobah right after Yoda's died, and they're sitting there talking and they're having their little thing, your insight serves you well, bury your feelings down deep. Well, the scene didn't end there in the novel. In the novel, he went on to say that Owen Lars was actually his brother. Obi-Wan Kenobi and Owen were brothers, which kind of lended credence to that man's just a crazy old wizard, blah, blah, blah. But also, and I'm not even lying about the number of times I thought about this, and I shared this theory with other people. You had Owen and Obi-Wan. O-B-1 and O-1. They were clones of each other. That's all I could think was, oh my gosh, they're clones. Because you have O1 and you have OB1. They've got number designations in their names. That's gotta be that's gotta be where the Clone Wars, they're clones fighting against regular people. That's exactly what it is. And until we got, obviously what we got with the prequels, 2002, when the Attack of the Clones happened. I mean, seriously, that's all I thought. I was like, oh, okay, they're gonna bring it up. It's gonna be Owen and Obi-Wan, and it's gonna be amazing. Boy, howdy, was I wrong.
I was almost a little let down when I saw Attack of the Clones. Well, when I just saw the poster and got an idea of what it actually meant, because I also saw A New Hope before the prequels ever came out, and when he said that, I just imagined like a bunch of clones going at it to see who can be the last one, like some Highlander shit. Like you get to be the actual dude.
There can be only one.
You're like, I have his wallet. Like now you're a guy. You're no longer a clone. You're the dude.
Come back tomorrow where it'll be Dave. You've just witnessed the birth of Steve. Death to all pretend Steves. Come back tomorrow. It'll be like 10,000 Daves just going at it. There can only be one. Oh, man, that would be crazy.
What about you, Debbie? Clone Wars?
I had no clue because, I didn't know what the hell they were talking about. But I do know when Vader, of course, this is not New Hope, but when Vader revealed he was Luke's father, my mind was like, well, how the hell did that happen? Because this guy's a machine. And, there's an interview with George Lucas somewhere. I don't remember where, but I've read it. And he said something about that Anakin had, or that Vader had fallen into a molten pot of lava.
Yep.
Because then when we get to Attack of the Clones and you see those pots where Anakin and Padme are running through, and I'm like, oh my
In
God,
the droid
where
foundry.
this happens? Because that's where my mind went. And
I wanted,
Well, it was
honestly,
Wrong.
Yeah.
I wanted Darth Vader in Episode 2. I wanted Attack of the Clones to have Darth Vader in it, so that in Episode 3 we could see Darth Vader hunting down the rest of the Jedi. I was disappointed in Episode 3 when we didn't get Darth Vader in the suit until like the very, very end of the movie. You had to watch the whole movie to see Darth Vader. But
Yeah.
that's just me.
It's kind of
I like
fitting
it the way it went.
because this is leading up to being Vader, not look at all this time being
The
Vader.
trilogies have to have the poetry.
It's about his
Right.
it's about his like Luke's journey, but it's Anakin's journey and how, I mean, in that sense, he is over ambitious, charges in, gets his arm cut off. He doesn't learn from that, and he ends up falling even farther. Luke learns from that, partially also because of his own father's failure. His own failure, he looks at his hand, he looks at his cybernetic hand, he looks down at his father's cut off cybernetic hand, and he realizes the stuff that Yoda was saying. He realizes the stuff that he saw in the cave, and he comes to realize that it's not just about being stronger, like physically able to beat Vader in battle. That's not all that's happening here. What's at stake is actually his purity, his like not
Right.
falling to the dark side. And so he learns from his failure, which is why I always hated in the sequels when Yoda hits him over the head and says failure is the best teacher. And I was like, that was already happened, but no character, I guess, hit another character over the head and set it to the screen. So it couldn't have possibly taken place. But yeah, I think all those things coming together for Luke in a way that he then triumphs over that test to the Emperor, whereas Anakin, failed and went further. It's awesome.
Speaking of the special effects and CGI, watching this movie, I mean, back in the day when the special editions came out, I mean, I thought they were pretty cool, all the little stuff that they added and whatnot. And then watching it yesterday, they don't really fit in.
No, it doesn't.
They're
look
so
good.
blatant, obvious.
Yeah.
And it's like, George, quit tinkering with it.
Honestly, and I think the best thing about the special editions was honestly the addition of Ian McDermott in Empire Strikes Back, where he goes, and I know that a lot of people, oh, well, what about the little old lady who played the Emperor and all that? And it's like, yeah, but Ian McDermott has been the Emperor. I mean, he was the Emperor in Jedi, and then of course he went on to go do the entire prequel trilogy as the same character. So
It looks better.
It looks better. Yes,
like as opposed to what
good.
Debbie was just saying with the other changes where you can tell and it looks really out of place. This one looks way more in place, partially because it was already a hologram that they were replacing. It's not like on Tatooine where they're like, let's add a random giant CGI animal
that walks in front of the camera.
Yeah, that's
I hate that.
like
great. This is going to be sweet. No, it's like this is something that already existed in the scene, and it was something that they already used special effects to create. So it's much easier to mimic that and do the exact same thing. Just how do we shoot that first one? Literally do that again, but this time instead of having a crazy face, we'll have like a more regular, like, because I know the Emperor's face is messed up no matter what, but that original one is like,
yeah, it's got big bulgy eyes.
And that
Uh-oh.
He got so excited his internet popped.
I was gonna say that's not even the Emperor that we see when we see Return of the Jedi. When we meet the Emperor, he doesn't look like. So that's even if you had kept that in there, it's like, so what did he get, like eye surgery before in between the events of he had some work done? He still looks like,
he still looks like
a
crap.
Whatever. Yeah, but did you see how he used to look? Yeah.
you
You should have seen him 5 years ago. He was just
For some reason, I was under the impression that they had left it kind of like weird looking because they didn't know what he was going to be, like if he was an alien or a human. It's what I recall, but I could have just pulled that.
Now you had mentioned the CGI being out of place, and I would like to address this as far as the special editions, A New Hope, the Jabba the Hutt scene, Jabba the Hutt special edition, Docking Bay 94. Is that scene absolutely necessary?
No.
Because all the
Boba
stuff.
Fett's in it too.
Oh, Boba Fett's in it.
Yeah.
Is that why? Is that the only reason we got to fan service everybody? We got to
I'm
put Boba
just
Fett in
saying.
it?
I was watching it and I was just like, I know that this was really shot with a fat guy in like a vest or something
With a sweet Scottish accent too.
If you go watch the movie, there was a really great documentary that came out from Star Wars to Jedi. I think it's on YouTube. I think you can go actually watch it on YouTube. But basically, that was the first time that I had seen that deleted scene with the big fat Scottish guy in the vest playing Jabba the Hutt. Have you know? I'm my boy. This is Jabba?
I like that version.
Well, I like when they change it to Jabba. Ugu Dagu Bika. It's great to have. At least it sounds like Jabba, and then you can have like I recognize that laugh, and it's like, well, now we've actually heard it before. So,
but that brings up another question though. Is so you have Jabba the Hutt in Return of the Jedi, and that was really the first time that we saw him, not counting the special editions and everything. Why could they not make a CGI Jabba the Hutt that looked like Jabba the Hutt in Return of the Jedi?
Exactly.
Yeah, I think they've changed that Jabba the Hutt in that scene like 3 different times. I think they changed him for the special edition. They revamped him for the DVDs, and I think Disney did something with him too. And of the 3 times, I don't think they've got it right once.
Jabba still doesn't look real.
No, it's like, come on. You've got source material. You've got stuff to go on. These set designers, they were talking about, I was reading an interview with the set designers for Rise of Skywalker and how they were designing the Death Star scene for the duel between Kylo Ren and Rey, and they were like, we were using the original set construction and original set designs from Return of the Jedi. When we were in that throne room, we rebuilt that set. And it's like, see, that's good because that's continuity right there. That makes your movie, that ties everything together. Whereas now you've got a Jabba the Hutt that doesn't look right.
Well,
Fix
of
Jabba.
course, on the side of Rise of Skywalker, you have the problem of you rebuilt a set that should have been destroyed because the Death Star exploded. So, but at least,
you got
props,
the set right.
Props for getting it right, I guess, but it shouldn't. It should have been. What a mess. I know what we'll do. We'll bring back the Death Star. This isn't Return of the Jedi. It's not going to work again.
Remember when we just had small problems?
Yeah.
Those are the days.
I guess since we're talking about A New Hope, I should shout out the stormtrooper that hits his head on the door.
Yes, let's not forget that.
Did you know that there's a stormtrooper?
And the sound team who still added in a clunk for it.
Yeah. And there's
we only had one take of this. Can we do reshoots? We don't have the money for that.
There's even the line right after he does it, guy says, the lead stormtrooper says, "Take over, see to him." And it's like, did he hear him hit his head? He knew what was going on. Or is he talking about somebody else?
17 takes we've done. He hits his head every time. I don't know if it's you or the door, but we can't afford to waste any more film on this.
He definitely was not short for a stormtrooper.
Actually, the actor who was in that suit was not feeling well that day. He was sick.
Because he hit his head 17 times. He was concussed.
Vomiting into this helmet.
Speaking of oddities, I thought they at least once or twice referred to the Sand People as Tusken Raiders, but they never do it in this movie.
I think Tusken Raiders actually came from. It was either the novelization, which I'd have to go. I haven't read that book in a long time, or the
Prequels.
toys. The
Oh.
the toys were actually
Mhm.
labeled. They weren't labeled Sand People. They were labeled Tusken Raiders.
That makes sense. So I was like, yeah, I don't think they're in Return of the Jedi. So when did this come up?
They'll be back and in greater numbers.
And with new names.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Okay. Anything else? We're just over an hour. Any other special memories from A New Hope? It's a beautiful story. The hero's journey.
Yeah.
Joseph-
Porkins. The legend of Porkins all takes place within this film. I mean, like,
Oh, that we get our
what
first
a
look at-
name to give that guy. Well, how about we have a guy that's noticeably heavier than everyone else, and we'll
and
call
we
him
call him
Porkins.
Porkins. And don't forget the Gonk droid. Gonk droid's always
Gonk.
Yep.
Gonk droid's gonna gonk.
I'm going to go gonk in the toilet here as soon as you're done.
Yeah. You got a droid delivery on the way.
Okay. Anything else?
No, we got our poop
I
jokes
think,
in.
I,
So.
I
Yeah.
think we got the poop jokes.
Now it's time to get him out.
Ba-dum-bum. All right. Well, I'm David. This is Debbie, Chris, Matt. We're all having a good time talking about A New Hope, and we hope to see you next week. We're talking about Empire Strikes Back. Wait a minute. We got one more. Bang on. Changed Jabba 3 times, and the first attempt at sprucing him up was the worst. Totally CGI at its worst. There you go. Mephisto confirmed. So anyway, cheers to you too, Grant. Glad you're with us. Check us out next week. We will be talking about Empire Strikes Back, arguably the greatest of the 9 Star Wars movies. We're gonna, between now and May the 4th, we've got 11 weeks, and we're gonna be talking about all 11 movies. We're not gonna do the Clone Wars movie, but we'll do all the saga films, and then we'll do Rogue One and Solo. Then we'll have our big May the 4th special. And then it'll be almost time for Kenobi to start. And hopefully we'll have trailers by then, and we can talk about things, and it'll all be good. All that aside, go check out geeknewsnow.net. Check out the articles there. Go check us out on our Facebook page. Don't forget to go enter for the Lego set. It's amazing, and it's a great set. And check out MCU Mondays. MCU Mondays right here on Geek News Now, Facebook and YouTube. But we'll see you all next week.
She's never seen Star Wars. Ted, the only